Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to treat English grammar a lot like architecture. We aren't just looking at isolated words, we're looking at the fundamental building blocks that actually allow you to construct truly sophisticated C1 level sentences. If you've ever felt like your writing is maybe a bit flat, or your speaking lacks a certain descriptive depth, well, this is the exact blueprint you need. Okay, so let's dive right into this. Just look at the stark difference between a basic, honestly kind of boring sentence like, "the boy ran," and the rich, detailed masterpiece right next to it. The young boy with curly hair ran across the playground after school. You can literally visualize the entire scene. So what's the secret ingredient making all that difference? Phrases. And that's exactly what we're unpacking today.
To get you communicating at that advanced level, here is our blueprint for today. We'll be defining the phrase, comparing phrases versus clauses, jumping into the 5 phrase types, and finally, showing you how to master your sentences.
Let's start with number 1, defining the phrase. First things first, we need to pour our foundation. What is a phrase exactly? The absolutely crucial point here is that a phrase is a team of words acting together as a single unit, but it cannot express a complete thought entirely on its own. Why? Because it lacks a complete subject-verb combination. So think of word groups like "in the overgrown garden" or "running very quickly." They give us fantastic, rich detail, but they leave us hanging, you know? You can't just walk up to someone, say, "in the overgrown garden," and expect them to understand the whole story. Moving right along to section 2, phrases versus clauses. Now, let's establish our boundaries by comparing a phrase to its much bigger cousin, the clause. This comparison brilliantly illustrates the difference. A phrase, like "under the table," has no complete subject-verb pairing. It just can't stand alone. But a clause, "she sat under the table," that has a subject, she, and a verb, sat. A clause actually has the architectural strength to stand completely alone as an independent sentence, whereas a phrase is really just one piece of the puzzle. Understanding this is exactly what stops you from writing awkward, incomplete sentences. Section 3, the 5 phrase types. Time to look at our specialized tools. Here is a high-level blueprint of the 5 major phrase types we're going to be exploring today: noun, verb, adjective, adverb, and prepositional. Notice how each type is named after its head word, basically the core word that anchors the phrase. We're going to walk through these one by one so you can see exactly how they work. Let's kick things off with the noun phrase. This functions exactly like a single noun, but it gives us a sort of mathematical formula to add way more specific detail. The structure is usually a determiner, like the or a, plus some adjectives, and then your core noun right at the end. What's really cool about this is how simple words basically gang up around that core noun to paint a much clearer picture. Instead of just saying a generic house, you say the old house. Instead of just flowers, it's those beautiful flowers. You're expanding the noun to give your listener a really precise visual. It's such a beautifully simple upgrade that instantly elevates your language. Next up is the verb phrase, which is going to allow you to express complex timelines and states of being. You basically take your main verb and layer helping verbs, also known as auxiliary verbs, right in front of it. Notice how layering those helping verbs with a main verb transforms a basic action into a very specific point in time or a specific possibility. Is reading shows an action happening right now. Will arrive puts us squarely in the future. But look at that last one. Should have been studying. I mean, wow, that is an absolute powerhouse of a phrase. It conveys past tense, continuous action, and a sense of obligation or regret all at once. For sure, that is exactly what C1 mastery looks like in action. All right, our third building block is the adjective phrase. It functions just like a single adjective to describe something, but it packs way more descriptive punch because it groups words together to modify a noun or pronoun. For instance, instead of just saying a student is eager, you can use an adjective phrase to clarify that they are eager to learn. Or instead of just saying someone is afraid, you specify they're afraid of spiders. It takes a totally flat description and really gives it some dimension. Moving right along to the adverb phrase. This is your absolute go-to tool for adding crucial context to actions. It modifies a verb, an adjective, or even another adverb. It's the phrase that answers those classic reporter questions: how, when, where, why, or to what extent. Look at how rapidly these phrases answer those exact questions. How did she do it? With great care. When? After lunch.
By dropping these adverb phrases into your sentences, you're adding instant depth and pacing the action exactly how you want your audience to experience it. The final tool in our kit is the prepositional phrase, which is incredibly common and fantastic for showing relationships in time and space. The formula is super simple. It begins with a preposition, like in, on, or under, and ends with its object, which is usually a noun or a pronoun. So just by connecting a preposition to an object, you instantly anchor your sentence to a specific location or moment: on the table, under the bridge, during the lecture. They're essentially the architectural joints connecting the action to the physical environment or timeline around it. All right, on to section 4, master your sentences. Let's put this all together. Now take a look at this beautifully constructed sentence. The clever student with glasses answered every question very confidently during the interview. It flows perfectly, it paints a vivid picture, and it sounds incredibly natural. But let's look under the hood for a second to see exactly how it was built. By breaking it down, we can clearly see how noun, prepositional, and adverb phrases literally snap together around the core verb answered to create this rich, descriptive meaning. The clever student acts as the subject. With glasses is a prepositional phrase adding visual detail. Every question is our object. Very confidently tells us how they answered, and during the interview tells us when. The whole shebang works together in total structural perfection. But we've got to remember our foundation here. A phrase is just a part of the house. It's not the whole building. A super common mistake is treating a phrase like a full sentence. Under the tree is geographically descriptive, sure, but it lacks a subject and an action. You absolutely must attach it to an independent clause, like the children played under the tree, to avoid creating an incomplete sentence. Okay, let's test your architectural eye. Can you spot the noun phrase, verb phrase, and prepositional phrase in these examples? Take a second. By simply understanding and applying these 5 types of phrases, your English communication is going to instantly become richer, clearer, and far more sophisticated. You're moving from just placing basic bricks to designing actual, beautiful structures that give your listener a fully realized world to step into. So I'll leave you with this final thought as we wrap up today's explainer. Armed with these incredible new structural tools, what masterpiece will you build next?